Hello, it is I Smart, and July 21st, 2023 was possibly one of the best days of my life. I got to see two amazing movies on the same day, possibly the two best movies of 2023. And as much as Oppenheimer was an incredible masterpiece and just some of the best cinema I've seen in a long time, it's really Barbie that's just stuck with me all these months later, and I've been trying to figure out why that is. You see, I was already interested in this movie by what the trailers had shown. The set design, the costumes, really even the humor, and the little bit we got to see of the plot really just intrigued me, and I was like, huh, this toy commercial movie looks like it might actually be a good movie? But the movie went so far above my expectations. All the stuff I thought would be good was so good. And the plot of the movie really surprised me and went in a direction I wasn't expecting. And I found myself pleasantly surprised upon going to see this movie. I thought this movie would just be, an inspirational message for girls, which it definitely was. It was definitely present. But I also found a really inspiring message for guys within this movie. Now, this movie, a lot of, people are saying, oh, it's anti-men, this movie hates men. It's all about why, men are bad and why we need a matriarchy and all this blah, blah, blah. I'm going to try and get into that in this video and explain why I don't think that's the case. And why I think this movie, while it is criticizing an aspect of men, I think it's something that is worth criticizing. And that is the literally me trend. You see, literally me, I can't explain it the best. I'm sure you could find another whole other video essay, whatever, talking about the literally me trend. But essentially, these are movies or other kind of stories about a guy who's in a society and he's at odds with this society. That's usually how it goes. And it's very usually stoic kind of character who gets violent and that sort of thing. And a lot of guys find themselves resonating with these characters and they say, oh, that's literally me. Now, this trend is often kind of funny because usually it's a character who you probably shouldn't be resonating with. But that's kind of where it becomes less of a joke and more of an issue, because there are a lot of guys who really do resonate with this. And like, oh, I want to be manly and cool like him. And it's like, you're missing the point by idolizing him. You're not supposed to idolize this character. And it just so happens that Ryan Gosling has played two of the most popular Literally Me characters. That being Officer K from Blade Runner 2049 and the guy from Drive. So in both these movies, he's, a really, silent, stoic kind of character. And not that there's anything wrong with stoicism, but it's just his characters are often not great people, but they're just depicted as being cool, and a lot of guys want to be that. Basically, my point in telling you all this is that there was a lot of people who were very excited to see that in the Barbie movie, Ryan Gosling would be playing Ken. Because obviously a lot of people were like, oh yeah, no, that's perfect, he looks exactly like a Ken doll, that's such a perfect casting. And then you have all the Literally Me guys who's like, oh my gosh, guys, it's Ryan Gosling, is gonna play Ken, it's literally me, I can't wait to go see this. So actually in the Barbie movie, when we're introduced to the character of Ken, we see that his really only purpose in Barbie land is to be a boyfriend, really an accessory to Barbie. Now this is kind of supposed to be a play on the real world. The Barbie world is supposed to be an opposite to our world, according to the movie. Now you can get into the argument of, oh, blah, 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 patriarchy, blah, 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 blah. You can get into that. I don't think that's what the real point of the movie is. The movie is really just trying to show us, hey, here's a flip side. Here's things change in a weird direction to make you think. So it puts us in a situation where Ken is just going to be chasing after Barbie his entire life, and that's really his only purpose. The way I see it is that this version of Ken represents a sort of childhood innocence. You see, when you're a kid growing up like me, at least we're talking from my experience here, you grow up watching movies. You see a cool movie character, he goes up and does a bunch of cool stuff, and he always ends up with a hot girl at the end of the movie, and you're like, oh, that's what I gotta do with my life. I gotta grow up, I gotta be a cool guy, and I gotta get a ton of girls. That's all that there is to life. That's what I'm going to do when I'm older. And I feel like this version of Ken is kind of representing that desire to, I have to get a girlfriend. I got to get it as soon as possible. I'm going to get a girlfriend and then I'll be happy. Also, another thing I can relate to with him is just not knowing your purpose in life. His job is beach. What does that mean? He does beach. He's not sure what it means, and this upsets him, and he wants to know what his purpose in life is, which is another, feeling that you get very early on in life. And then we get to the middle part of the movie, where Ken goes to the real world, and he finds out about the patriarchy. Now, I think this is where the movie started to lose a lot of people, but for me, I found this really interesting, because I think this is kind of where, if you were looking at this as stages in life, as a guy, this is where you grow up. You find out about the world, you find out about being a man, what it means to be a manly man, working out, getting a bunch of babes, getting a bunch of money, drinking beers and stuff, and then just being super patriotic and awesome, and horses apparently. And I think this is a real issue these days, where a lot of guys can fall into that kind of, literally me, sigma male, almost pipeline. They just get super down into that of like, oh yeah, I gotta be cool, I deserve to be awesome, why does the world hate me so much, I want money. I want all these things. I deserve all these things because I'm a guy and because I'm awesome. And I think a lot of guys can fall into that trap. And that's the thing. The movie is making fun of those guys in particular. It's not trying to make fun of men, as a lot of people mistakenly think this movie's doing. It's making fun of those guys in particular. And I think that's when I noticed this watching the movie, I was like, oh my gosh, this movie is making fun of literally me. It's making fun of literally me trend by literally propping up Ryan Gosling to be the people, that idolize him. Ryan Gosling, the literally me messiah, was being made to be a joke. He was being made to make fun of the people who idolize him, which I think is probably one of the most clever things this movie does, and something I really haven't seen many people talk about. You see, when you're a single 20 or something year old guy like me, you kind of have two paths you can go down in life. You can go down the path of, hey, I'm single, that's alright, I think I'll find a girlfriend eventually, maybe, maybe not. If that's it, I'm content. Or you can go down the path of, why don't I have a girlfriend? Society hates me. Everyone must be against me. This is awful. I deserve everything. I'm awesome. Why does everyone hate me so much? Women are just stupid. They don't deserve me, alright? I'm better than all women. You really have those two paths, and unfortunately, a lot of people do go down the second path. Anyway, as the plot of this movie goes along, eventually we get to the part where he sings I'm Just Ken, which, if you couldn't tell, is possibly one of my new favorite songs of all time, but there really is a ton of meaning in this song. After this, he talks with Barbie, and it kind of seems for a moment like they might do that typical Hollywood cliche of, oh, the guy and the girl are going to get together, right? But then they don't, which is a really great subversion on the part of the movie, I thought, but it also just reiterates that whole point of I'm just Ken, and Ken ultimately wearing that hoodie that says, I am Kenough. Ken says to Barbie, like, it's Barbie and Ken. There is no just Ken. He's still in this kind of mentality of, is it alright to be just Ken? But then he truly realizes, it's okay to be just Ken. And that's the message that stood out to me so much. When I realized that, something clicked when I was watching this movie, and I was like, it's okay to be just Ken. Basically what I'm saying is, Ken's character art is complete when he wears that I am Kenough hoodie. Because he's realizing he doesn't need Barbie, he doesn't need the other Kens, he doesn't need patriarchy, he doesn't need any of these things to give him value. He is intrinsically valuable just the way he is. You are intrinsically valuable just the way you are. I am intrinsically valuable just the way I am. You see, Ken's made out to be the antagonist of this movie, and in a way he is, but he's not just an evil antagonist. He's the best kind of antagonist because he makes the hero question their world and ultimately become better because of it. And he himself also becomes better, and Barbie Land and really everything as a whole becomes better because Ken looked at his life and questioned it, and made the hero question it. So while he is the antagonist, he's so important because he makes everyone rethink and reevaluate why they are the way they are. And that right there is why I just love the message of this movie so much. I am Kenough. It's so simple, but it has so much meaning in it. I don't have to derive my value from money or success or other people or anything really. I have value. I am Kenough, and that's all I gotta be. Of course I can always improve and become better, but I don't have to be like, oh, I don't have a girlfriend, oh, I don't have a bunch of money, oh, I don't have all these things. I am Kenough. I have value just the way I am. It's something so simple, but it's just something that means so much to me. And I hope it means something to you, and that's why I wanted to make this video. I know I typically do Star Wars stuff, but I needed to talk about the Barbie movie because it fundamentally changed the way I look at myself. I know that's kind of silly to say, but it really did affect me just on a deep personal level. So, I'm Kenough.